Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for the delay in the start. Just some technical issues to navigate then, but welcome here tonight. My name's Phil Cantillon. I'm the CEO of the Frankston City Council, and it's great to have you on board here tonight. I'll be speaking about the Healthy Futures Hub on behalf of Council, and I'm also the MC for this afternoon's event. We had hoped to actually meet you face to face, but we're using our powers of technology to actually make sure that we've got the event, and so tonight's a really important discussion to have with you, albeit online at the moment. So thanks very much for joining us. Please be aware that we're actually recording this afternoon's events, and if you have any questions during the session, we've actually got a chat room tool available to it, so feel free to access that, and we'll answer as many of those questions as we can through the session. Before we begin, I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today, the Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation, and pay my respects to the elders past, present and future. And I'd like to extend that respect to the elders of other communities who may be here today. Firstly, I'd just like to acknowledge there are a number of councillors present this afternoon. I can't actually tell who's here, but I believe our Mayor, Councillor Chris Boland, is here, and I believe Councillor Sue Baker is here. Heather, there might be some other councillors here as well you can see this afternoon. Okay, great. So I'd like to also introduce our guest speakers that we can actually see on the screen in front of us. So that's very lucky to have, very fortunate to have Matt Finnis, the CEO of the St Kilda Football Club, here today. We've also got Libby Callaway, who's the Associate Professor for Monash University. We've got Lisa Lang, who's the Senior Manager Marketing and Partnerships at Wallara, and also Meredith McKenzie, who's the Manager of the Belvedere Community Centre. And importantly, we'll also be joined by Tim Berup, who's our Manager of Community Strengthening at Frankston City Council, and also I believe Andrew Dix here, who's the Head of Strategy at St Kilda Football Club. So I suppose just to start off with a little bit of background. So as you know, the council has recently voted to provide in-principle support for the new leasing terms of the Lennon House facility at Belvedere Reserve, Seaford, and that was to the St Kilda Football Club. So this is for the development and use of the site as a community health and wellbeing hub. And obviously that's subject to the completion of the community consultation process, including, most importantly, tonight's session. And this is your opportunity to hear about the proposal directly from council officers, from the St Kilda Football Club, and some of the proposed tenants and partners here tonight. And each panel member will provide a short presentation, and then we'll answer each of your questions. So our next slide that we've got up there is, I suppose, what are we trying to achieve? What's the principles? What's the vision for the Healthy Futures Hub? And importantly, it's to provide community benefit under the broad umbrella of health and wellbeing, with specific benefit target towards Frankston's vulnerable groups. The new lease proposes to open up the facility through St Kilda Football Club's community programs and their extended partnerships to become part of the community. We want the facility to be welcoming, comfortable and at the heart of the local community. A centre of excellence in wellbeing, health and sport, where local community comes first, benefit comes first. and a facility that's accessible to all, from the elite, from the elite athlete to the most vulnerable in the community. And importantly, an integrated culture we use as a complementary, providing unique opportunities for the Frankston community, fostering community pride and building a strong reputation well beyond its boundaries. It's also about providing a well-balanced between community and commercial interests, with all services contributing to the physical, emotional, social and mental health needs of the Frankston community. And where possible, a source of community opportunities not currently available or easily accessible in the municipality. So these principles are incorporated into the proposed new lease with St Kilda Football Club. So at this point, I'd like to hand over to, oh no, I've got one more slide in there, I think, isn't it? Yeah, I think. So under, so also the other thing to highlight in there is under the proposed lease, we might just go back one, if that's all right. As you can see on this slide, St Kilda Football Club will be the head tenant. We might have missed it. Will be the head tenant and run the facility as a Healthy Futures Hub, with a number of complementary subtenant partners to meet the vision and the covenant. And our panel members tonight represent a few of these partners, and you'll hear from them shortly. So Council's identified, importantly, the Belvedere Community Centre as a priority organisation to be included as a subtenant, and to use the facility as their primary base to serve the community. And at this point, I'll now hand over to Matt Finnis, the CEO of the St Kilda Football Club, to take you further through the proposal. So thank you. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks very much, Phil, and I appreciate everyone giving up their time this afternoon to come online and hear and learn more about our plans, but critically have a chance to ask any questions as well. Look, I guess Phil's given a good introduction, so I won't back over what he's already said. But our vision is to create a health and wellbeing hub that serves the future needs of the community, and really the way in which we've focused about that is it's about sport. It's about being able to service people of all different abilities across all different ages, and ultimately, I guess the irony of all this, there's obviously been a lot of conversation and a lot of water gone under the bridge in relation to the decision by St Kilda to relocate its elite football program back to Moorabbin. But the reality is, when you take 45 elite athletes out of utilising this building, on a weekly basis, you can have 10 times that number of community people come through the facility and actually put it to a really good use, which has a more impactful benefit for the community. And we know that council had that as their agenda, and we've worked really hard with a whole range of incredible partners to come up with what we believe is a proposal which which leverages the strength of what St Kilda can do, and that is bring communities and bring partners together, and ultimately make a positive change. And if you wouldn't mind just moving on to the next slide. So essentially, what does that look like? I mean, it's all well and good to talk in nice big principles and philosophies, but what does it actually look like? And really the core offerings go across physical health, mental health, and what we're calling future health, which is about innovation. And so when it comes to physical health, it's about let's utilize some of the core offerings that were built into the facility when it was created, to actually support not the physical health of elite athletes, but the physical health of the community. And that's, with rehabilitation services through allied health, group exercise, utilizing gymnasium space, converting the existing pools into a manner which allow them to be used for learn to swim, and potentially hydrotherapy, and then also a range of community-based sporting programs, and particularly those that are. If you just go back, actually, I'm finished on that slide. From a mental health point of view, we're doing a lot of work in that space. The football club is, creating a Danny Frawley Centre for health and wellbeing. We've got an amazing group of partners in mental health, and clearly, there's a need amongst the community for what we call prevention and early intervention programs, which really support experts being able to provide greater access to mental health, but also doing it in a way which is recognising that social connection is a critical part of anyone's mental health. And then from a future health point of view, you'll hear from Associate Professor Libby Callaway from Monash University shortly, but our partnership with Monash University allows us to incorporate a really strong research agenda, bring students into the facility, and actually stay at the forefront of emerging ways to promote the health of our community. And ultimately, as I'm sure you'd recognise, St Kilda Football Club can't do all of these things on our own. We only do this through partnering with others, and ultimately it's the strength of the partnerships that will make sure that this facility, is a unique asset which the community of Frankston, I think, can be very proud of going forward. We bring world-class expertise to the fore. We integrate a community of practitioners, of professionals, and people leveraging off each other, and ultimately then grow and support partners like Belvedere, like Wallara, like other community partners, to be the best version of themselves as well. Thank you, Anne. I think this is the last point from me, but ultimately it is a community asset and remains a community asset in relation to its utilisation. We are creating and driving investment into the community so that we can reinvest revenues earned back into the expansion of services and programs for community members to benefit. We think it will drive local employment, and that's a big part of getting more people utilising the area. But ultimately, it's really consistent with the council's own health and wellbeing plan, and particularly how we support more vulnerable groups by providing them with better access to best of breed health and wellbeing services. And don't worry, certainly council has been very strong in terms of the way in which it has essentially re-engineered the lease to provide protections for council in relation to the accountabilities on St Kilda and the partners to deliver on what it is that is the aspiration in here. But ultimately, as I said before, the strength of what we're talking about here is a partnership. It's one where the whole is definitely greater than the sum of its parts, and we're really proud of the work that the partners have played in bringing this to the fore, and we've appreciated the opportunity to work with council for many years now, to be on the cusp of this initiative. So that's it from me. But what I think I will do is hand over to my colleague Andrew, who's going to talk with a bit more specificity, I think, about some of the layout of the facility. Thanks, Andrew.
Terrific. Thanks, Matt. Much appreciated. Now, Anne's got the thankless task here of trying to follow my description of this site layout with the mouse, and I believe there's a delay, so this could be quite tricky to pull off. But thanks, Anne, for your help here. Just to introduce what you're seeing on the screen, there's actually two buildings there. There's two separate buildings. One in the top left, which isn't necessarily to size, but just gives you a sense around what we are calling, the precinct, and hence the word hub makes sense, that we bring the vision to life through multiple assets at the site. And so the Davey Richard Pavilion will play a big role in that, which, Belvedere will be the lead partner over in that building, as well as the core building that St Kilda used to occupy. So where the mouse is currently is where the car park is. So I'm just going to take you through the building now, through that airlock there. Perfect. Well played, Anne. And so as you walk in there, you've got a couple of smiling faces from Belvedere and St Kilda to greet you. There's a big open area as you walk in, where there's a social enterprise cafe that Lisa will talk through in a moment. But there's seating throughout that open area, which expand all the way through that centre and all the way back out down south through towards the oval as well. So there's some really nice seating out there facing the oval, which is a beautiful view out the southern end of the building. So there's lots of seating. It's really a place and a space to be, as much as it is a hub for the various clients and organisations that are in the building. But certainly welcome everyone in the local area to be able to come and utilise the building and to enjoy the cafe. Obviously, there's lots of surrounding amenities that'll certainly benefit from having the cafe there and access to that. Now, as you come past the reception, if you turn right, we'll take you through that direction first. So the light blue is Belvedere's spot. So Belvedere will be front and centre. This will be a big part of their future. Will be the home base, which Meredith will talk through in a moment. There's 3 multi-purpose rooms down that end there. Yeah, thank you, Anne. There's so those rooms are, as it sounds, quite flexible spaces. Lots of different types of furniture that cater to various class activities and the like across Belvedere and Woollahra. There's a large admin area out there. There's about 40 seats in that space, but really trying to create almost the future of work in a post-COVID environment. So there's 2 elements to this. One is we want to make sure we create an environment that has a really strong ability to create collaboration between the various partners, and there are many that we've got in this space at the moment. However, we also recognise that like tonight, we're all on Teams, and that's going to be a big part of the future as well. And so there'll be a range of private pods there. There's a couple that you can sort of see right in the middle of the admin area, but we'll look to include a couple more of those as well in the space and throughout the building to ensure that people can jump on calls and jump into private meetings as and when required. If we keep going down the southern end of the building, we've got in the dark orange space, yeah, perfect. We've got the Monash telehealth practice there. We're looking to have 10 telehealth suites in that space, and I won't steal Libby's thunder. Libby will speak to it in a moment around the various schools that'll occupy that space, but be a really cutting edge telehealth practice, and certainly a really great way to integrate Monash with a range of different partners there to bring student experiences to life with many of the partners that are in the admin part of the building as well. And so there's great interaction and collaboration across those 2 parts of this. And I should just call out that Libby has played a really significant role in pulling all of this together, and certainly in bringing together a bunch of partners that Monash have strong existing relationships with. And so we're really confident that we'll have some really positive outcomes there across both the admin space, which then feeds back into that telehealth practice. We keep moving further to the right. We've got effectively the old training admin assets that the St Kilda Footy Club used to use. So you've got a gym, you've got a swimming. We've got actually a learn to swim school that we're going to turn from our old rehab pool, which is just the purple box at the top there. And we've also got a program room, which is in the middle of the 2. So you can imagine that as locals getting access to effectively some really elite assets that for the first time we're able to provide those back to the community, which is really exciting. And we want to do that through a few different businesses there. So the first one is the light blue consulting suites. We've loosely pegged that to be some medical rehab and some allied health rehab. So think physio, exercise physiologist, nutritionists, etc., that will occupy those spaces, but then be able to leverage the existing elite assets that St Kilda had for a period of time. So you can imagine that you're doing your rehab in the gym and potentially on the oval as well. It's a really nice oval out there as well, but you can imagine there's some rehab there. And there's 3 ovals in the local precinct, and so I can imagine that business would love to leverage relationships across those organisations, but also the broader community to provide access to some really unique assets for the community. So the gym, relatively self-explanatory. We know what gyms are. There's a program room there just north of that. So that's, think mindfulness, Pilates, etc., spin classes and so on. There's a couple of change rooms just to the immediate left of that, which just slightly south that, just left of that program room, which will allow 24/7 access. So you can imagine, parking in the car park and then walking around the outside of the building with appropriate lighting and signage at night. But that gym, we're hoping to be able to provide 24/7 access for locals, which can leverage the couple of change rooms in that space there. We keep moving north. There's a slightly bigger change rooms in that white box. Yeah, perfect, just there. So you've got female and male change rooms with a bunch of lockers and change spaces in there. There's another accessible change room in that space. There's more accessible change rooms around the rest of the site. As we move left, we've got one of the second Woollahra multipurpose room, which we spoke through before. We've also got on this diagram, and this I should clarify as well. This is really the conceptual phase diagram. We're still making some edits to this as we sort of work through this piece, but the rest of the Monash telehealth practice, which will actually be swapped back with a couple of the meeting rooms in that space, but that'll largely be an NDIS friendly space in that region. We keep moving left. We've got the boardroom and the lecture room, which won't have too many changes to the existing layout. But yeah, they'll be available to the partners as larger meeting room spaces and presentation spaces. There's actually a sliding wall or retractable wall between those two rooms, so we can expand that lecture room into a much bigger space as well, which can allow us to deliver presentations to a significant number of people. And then really excitingly, we've been able to deliver a community dental practice, which you can see up there in the orange. Really exciting, new asset that was, as I understand it, is a great need for the local community. So that's really exciting to be able to deliver that as well. And then to the immediate right of that, there's the Learn to Swim School. So that's the old St Kilda rehab pool, which we'll look to convert into a warmer water pool and certainly deliver a range of Learn to Swim School classes, particularly for really young toddlers to around about 6 years of age is sort of where we're thinking at the moment. The white boxes above that, there's over to the left-hand side, there's some existing amenities, which is toilets, and there's more accessible toilets. There's some service rooms there. And then in the top right, there's an existing basketball court, which, look, we won't be making too many changes to that, but that'll still be a community asset, which is rentable by, community members. So certainly feel like this is your asset as well, and that you're able to get access to this. So St Kilda will manage that and the bookings that sit around that, but yeah, certainly welcome different community members to be able to use that at different times, and we'll obviously set up the right channels to be able to request usage of that. Now that's my couple of minutes, but if you've got any questions, I think you can pop it into the Q&A, and we can come back to this if you've got any specific questions. Now I'll hand over to Associate Professor Libby Callaway from Monash.
Thanks very much, Andrew, and thanks everyone for joining us tonight. It's really exciting to talk about this very innovative community partnership, which I guess what is really striking about this is it's going to offer real benefit to the residents of the city of Frankston and beyond. So I'm an occupational therapist by background. I've worked at Monash University for about 16 years now across the Rehabilitation, Ageing and Independent Living Research Centre and also the Occupational Therapy Department. Monash is based, our Peninsula campus, in Frankston, so we do service a lot of your home area and beyond. We run a range of allied health and education programs, occupational therapy, physiotherapy, nursing, paramedicine, education, and social work, just as some examples of some of the degrees that we offer. And as part of that, we have been really focused for decades now on developing innovative partnerships that will benefit the community. So on screen, you can see a photo of me walking with one of my colleagues who's an NDIS participant. She's using a scooter, and she actually moved into some housing that we built with a $2 million federal government grant on the border of Monash Peninsula campus. So she became a resident of the units on the border of the campus. But over time, we developed a collaboration, and she's now a lecturer into some of our programs. Above, on the photo on the right there, you can see another of my colleagues who has previously lived at the units. He also is one of my co-researchers now in programs that we have funded, looking at a range of approaches to the use of technology in everyday life, as well as housing design. So we really want to partner with local community members, and this Healthy Futures Hub really offers that further opportunity for your community to be part of this process. In that lower photo there, you can see what we call our human library, that where we invite community members from the City of Frankston and other areas to come in and actually tell their lived experience to our students. And then finally, you can see an image of some of our occupational therapy students learning, particularly around how to advise on the use of wheelchairs and the design of those wheelchairs. We also run a range of research projects, as well as programs where we partner with community organisations like Belvedere and Wallara and St Kilda Football Club. So it's exciting to expand that through the Healthy Futures Hub. If I can just have that next slide, please, Anne. The other important thing to note, the opportunity here with the Healthy Futures Hub is Monash is leading a new National Centre for Healthy Ageing, and you can see here the soil being turned on a new academic research centre based at Frankston Hospital as part of that national centre. This is a $32 million research centre, and it really is a hub that aims to serve Frankston and the Mornington Peninsula. If you can just advance to the next image, please, Anne. You'll see that there's 3 streams of work that the National Centre for Healthy Ageing offers. One is a very large health data platform coming out of the Peninsula Health Network in collaboration with Monash researchers. The next is a range of programs where we engage with community stakeholders, develop what we call living labs, or actually those really embedded community programs that are going to help us to learn from community and help community to learn from us within research and programs. And then thirdly, there is what's called the transformational facilities or infrastructure component. And we've put in a number of submissions to the National Centre for Healthy Ageing to look at how we could ask the centre to co-invest in infrastructure at this site to benefit the local community. So one example is my director of my research centre, Keith Hill, is a physiotherapist, and he does a lot of work with what are called senior exercise parks. And they're exercise parks that are located in local community parks and can be used by people of all ages. And one of our hopes with this hub is we could put an exercise park at the Healthy Futures Hub, and we could then actually offer no-cost, low-cost programs to local community members to use that in collaboration with physiotherapy and occupational therapy students from Monash under supervision from our staff. So really exciting opportunities grown further through this National Centre for Healthy Ageing potentially. If I can just have the next slide, please, Anne. Just might be a little delay there. What is exciting, and I think Andrew and Matt have really touched on this already, as did Phil, is the location of this community hub and what it can offer to the local community. And if we look around that large AFL oval down the bottom of the picture there that Andrew was touching on earlier, our aim is that we can offer a range of programs to the community that draw on things like the oval, the bike trail that runs down alongside Peninsula Link, the nature reserve at the base of the oval, which just is cut off from screen there. And then also inviting our local community members from groups like the Belvedere Bowls Club or the local primary school to be a part of collaborative programs that make a difference to the health and wellbeing of local residents of Frankston. Thanks, Anne. I guess just finally for me, I'm really just going to touch on the benefits that we see for the range of collaborators in this project. And as Matt touched on, we've really tried to design a vision here that actually enacts really that maximum usage of this beautiful facility, which will be even more beautiful with the investments that are being made by our multiple partner groups, to ensure that we're really prioritising healthy and active lives strategic goal planning that the Frankston City Council has focused on for a number of years now through their health and wellbeing plan. We also see this as really innovative. This is not something that's done regularly. So for you as Frankston City Council residents, this is something that other local council residents just don't get access to. So it is innovative and we want you to be a part of it. So if you do want to reach out to me, particularly at Monash Uni, you can always email me directly. You'll be easily able to find my email address through a Google search. And then really making sure we build those partnerships that benefit the local community and that build that research and evaluation around what we offer so we can learn what is working for residents, what would they want to improve or change to make a difference to their health and wellbeing, and then actually deliver that at the hub. As we said, we're aiming for low and no cost, as well as ensuring there's that collaboration across the multiple partners. And we really want this to be, as Andrew pointed out through showing you the design, a hub where people come and sit and have coffee or tea or water or whatever is their preferred option and be part of a community together. And I guess we think with this innovation, we're going to attract more funding to offer more programs to the community over time. And that's a really exciting opportunity. So I'll finish there and I'm going to hand over now to Lisa from Woollahra. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Livy, and thank you for having me here. I'm here to talk just a little bit about Woollahra. I'm going to talk firstly about our mission, which is all about driving social change and empowering people with different abilities. And you'll see some of the pictures that we'll show through this slide, and I'll talk to those a little bit. But for us, being part of this really collaborative community at the hub really provides us this incredible opportunity to work towards meeting that mission and driving that social change. I think it opens up being able to deliver unique programs in health and wellbeing, fitness and life skills in this fresh and new facility, and something that's going to be a real signature site for the work that we do with our clients with different abilities. We'll be able to showcase all that we can do and also a lot of what our clients are able to achieve. As you'll see in this picture, we deliver supports differently. We call our disability workers support coaches, and we see that their role is really about coaching our clients to achieve their goals. All of our programs are developed by an education manager, and we've got really unique work pathways and employment opportunities for the young people that we work with. They include things like media, graphic design, land management, hospitality, IT and logistics and administration. So a really broad range of work opportunities and pathway opportunities for our young people. We also really pride ourselves on our partnerships, and we've got some great partnerships in the Frankston community already with Frankston RSL, with St Kilda Football Club, and we work closely with Monash University as well. That first image on the picture there of the farm is one of our signature sites. We run a farm that is operated by about 70 young people with different abilities, learning all about sustainable farming, animal management, and bushland. And that is just a great picture of a lot of the produce that we've been growing. And we will use some of that produce in the cafe that we will be operating at Seafood, which is really amazing in that hub, as well as growing our own vegetable beds and herb beds, hopefully at the facility as well. And then the other picture is a wonderful picture of a young person who's been learning hospitality skills and working in our public cafe that we run down at the farm, where we bring the community into us and who see all of these young, amazing people with different abilities working across the farm. You can go on to the next slide, please. I think having a second opportunity with a public cafe at the hub will be really amazing for our clients and for our staff. It really does create opportunities for more pathways to learning in employment for Woollahra, but also in external employment as well. And hospitality is one of our greatest streams of interest from the young people that are coming into our services. It's a great place where all generations of people can meet, and it's a really great way to bring the community in to see what people with disabilities are capable of doing and achieving. So really looking forward to welcoming many of the community into this social enterprise cafe that will operate out of the future Healthy Futures Hub. We can go on to the next slide, please. The next couple of slides are just really showcasing our partnerships and who we work with. So we have a great program that we're running with Monash called Keep On Learning. It's unfortunately put on hold during COVID, which is a real shame, but our clients are desperate to be getting back there. where we have clients attend Monash University. They work with some pre-service teachers, so those pre-service teachers can learn about teaching people with different abilities. Our clients get to graduate from university and they have a real sense of achievement through that. So it's a fabulous program that we run with Monash, and also gives the pre-service teachers, I think, a whole new skill set about what they can take into mainstream schools as well with how they teach. And on to the next slide is our partnership with St Kilda, which has been for quite some time now. It's a deep community partnership where our players get really immersed in the programs that we run throughout the year and visits to our farm. And Wallara are also working with St Kilda in managing the land maintenance at both of their sites at Seaford, or both of the sites at Seaford and at Moorabbin. So we'll see clients with different abilities who will be out there mowing lawns and doing gardening and maintaining all of the facilities, and also have a strong program where we pick and pack all of the online merchandise orders with the Saints. So a really deep partnership that we're really looking forward to continuing and working with them through this Healthy Futures Hub as well. That was all from me, and I would like to pass over to Meredith from Belvedere Community Centre.
Terrific, thanks Lisa. So Belvedere Community Centre, we've had a long history going right back to the mid-1970s. We started in Frankston South originally, and after several changes of address and name, we've been at our current site since 1991, so that's actually 30 years this year. But our building is no longer fit for purpose. It's got many non-compliances. It looks great, but it's many non-compliances, and it's really challenging to run the range of programs that our community want and they deserve. And for the last 5 years, we've been working, excuse me, with Frankston Council to find a solution to this. And wow, this one actually ticks every box possible. So we're very excited. Over the years, our programs have changed to meet the changing needs of the community. So we listen to what the community want and need, and we hopefully try to address those needs. We run a wide array of adult education programs, and we get funding through the Department of Education and Training. It's pre-accredited training that we do, so it's targeted at those with the most educationally disadvantaged. Computer classes, English language, adult reading and writing, literacy, return to work programs. We're doing some horticulture programs down at the Downs Estate. We also run Auslan French and many, many more. We run social inclusion programs designed to bring people together from a range of backgrounds and abilities, and just to spend time together and share common interests. And that's just something we're really going to be having to work on, especially as we're starting to reopen. You know, that includes things just like board games, card games, morning teas, book clubs, and many more. We run a range of art and craft programs, cake decorating, cooking, knitting for charity, children's and family programs, play groups, exercise classes. We do popular, our Seniors Week workshops are always lots of fun. Fundraising activities such as Biggish Morning Tea and more. And, you know, we're running all that at the moment out of a very, very limited space. In fact, we're only running out of 2 rooms at the moment. We also provide valuable volunteer and student placement opportunities where we support people to update and develop new skills, to gain confidence and to improve their self-esteem. So the value that Belvedere brings to the local community cannot be underestimated. We're a really small centre, but we've got a really big heart. And our program look is often impacted by our room capacity, and at times we have to run our programs off site. And a big thank you to St Kilda, who this year have been hosting our exercise and our English language classes. So it's been fantastic to already start utilising and being part of the centre. Thanks, Anne. Over the past 18 months, look, our doors have been closed more than we've been open, as I'm sure everybody has been. But even though the doors were closed, and they still are, hopefully not next week, we've been busy behind the scenes providing continuing support to our community. Our amazing volunteers have made over 2,000 reusable face masks, which we've donated to the community members, and at last count to 14 local community organisations. So we haven't been selling them, we've been giving them away, which has been amazing. Where possible, we've continued to deliver our adult education classes online when the doors were closed, so we just pivot onto Zoom, particularly for our English language class, which is where we've been most successful. Last year, we even had 2 of our students who went home to Brazil, so they were logging on at midnight in Brazil and still doing their English language classes. Look, my staff have made over 1,000 phone calls, checking in on our vulnerable members, delivering food parcels, medication, games, puzzles, referring those in need to the most appropriate support services, helping people apply for the government-funded power saving bonus, and we're now just starting to help people be able to link their vaccination certificates to the government app. So wherever there's a need we see where people are struggling, that's where we step in. We've kept thousands of people connected through our regular Facebook posts, competitions, monthly newsletters, you name it. We do whatever we can just to stay connected. So our mission is creating a confident and connected community. And look, the opportunity for Belvedere to be part of this hub, and you've heard all the amazing things that, you know, the opportunities there. Look, it's going to provide us with a safe and secure facility, large enough to allow us to grow with the community. As you've heard from everyone clearly, we've indicated we're all really keen to collaborate, be part of this vibrant, multifaceted community facility that's going to benefit the local and wider community for many years to come. So thank you, we are very excited. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you to our wonderful presenters. I'd now like to open our Q&A session, and I can see that we've actually already received a few come through. So Tim, would you like to sort of direct some of the questions to some of our panel members, if that's fine?
Okay, sorry, we're having a few technical difficulties. Can you hear me at the moment?
No, I think we've actually lost Tim.
Having a few technical difficulties. Can you hear me, Phil?
We can hear you, Tim.
You can hear me now, can you?
Yeah, we got you.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, great. Sorry, just having a few technical problems back here, but I think we're good now. We've had a couple of questions from the community, so we might just run through those briefly now. One of the ones that came up was a question about the tenancy opportunities and whether they're still open. Is there a fixed term, or can casual attendances occur throughout the year? So I might throw to Andrew to fill us in on that one.
Thanks, Tim. Much appreciated. So absolutely. Look, we've got a very full building at the moment. I think the site layout probably gives you a sense for how hard the asset is working at the moment. Our architect likes to remind me of that. But that notwithstanding, we certainly have a viewpoint to be able to provide as much access to community as possible in the building. So while it's oversubscribed in the existing structure we've got at certain times in the day, it's certainly not at other times. So my sense is the building is extremely busy from 9 to 3 every day during the week. But to the extent that that's just outside of those hours, absolutely. The basketball court is always available to community members. So look, there's definitely opportunities to get involved. Yeah, and I'd certainly welcome everyone that has a view that they'd like to be in the building to reach out. I believe you can go through the public consultation process at the moment, which is to reach out to Simone. So Simone's done a number of introductions already through this process, which has been fantastic. And we certainly want to reach out and engage with all community partners that'd like to be part of this. So look, the message is that it's well and truly oversubscribed. It is very busy in there at the moment, but notwithstanding, we'd still love to engage with all community members. And look, even if it's not initially, if it's a long-term vision, or if we can get you in there at certain times and around other users of the building, then yeah, we'd love to do that. So yeah, please reach out to Simone, and you know, she'll link you in with us.
Great, thank you, Andrew. This next question was on our website, so some of this may have been answered from the presentations today, but we'll ask it if perhaps Meredith might want to elaborate on this one. But just as people are trying to understand what the concept of a Healthy Futures Hub is, and perhaps what sets it apart from a standard community centre or community recreation centre, do you want to try and elaborate on that for us?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Tim. I think, look, particularly with Belvedere, our ability to be flexible with what we can deliver. So constantly having a look at what the community's needing. Nothing, well, some of our programs are set in stone for a term or whatever, but you know, some of the things like even with the social inclusion programs I mentioned before, one of the things that I would love to be able to do, maybe in conjunction with Wallara and the cafes, like implement a chatty cafe, which is part of a worldwide scheme where which aims to just connect people, get people chatting, encourages social connections within the community, which again, you know, reduces social isolation and loneliness. So yeah, our flexibility, I think, to move with what the community want and need is probably something that we're really proud of being able to offer. I hope that answers the question, Tim.
Great, yeah, no, thanks, Meredith, and I might just add a little bit more to that as well. Look, I think there's, in terms of the terminology, I think there's definitely crossover with what one might call a community recreation centre as well. Obviously, it's broader, given, as Meredith has said, the Belvedere Community Centre will be just a part of a broader Healthy Futures Hub. I suppose what really sets it apart is this site was built as an elite sporting facility to start with, and from that we're now building out to provide broader community access and benefit from that, and take wellbeing to a much broader definition than just you know, elite sporting wellbeing. It's a much broader sense now for the community. So it's just going to provide opportunities that perhaps your average community rec centre just wouldn't be able to provide, and the level of partnerships and formal partnerships that have come into this, as you've heard about today, will really make this something, you know, really probably beyond what we could do at, say, some of our council facilities we currently run. So it'll provide some added benefit. We've got a few other questions there. Probably one of the most important ones to people is when can we see this on the ground and happening? So subject to council decisions and the like, if it is to be approved and all to proceed, Andrew, can you give us a sense of timeframes?
Thanks, Tim. I'm not sure whether people can hear me. I think everyone can hear me now. Thanks, guys. So yeah, look, we're working towards a go live state right at the start of 2023 at the moment. So we're expecting the first sod to be turned in May next year, as we work through the various processes that we are at the moment, with around about an 8-month build there. You know, hopefully going live. We'd love that to be the case in January. So that's what we're working towards at the moment.
Great, thank you for that. There's a question around the traffic and how that may be impacted by this development. So I might put to Phil this question. It's about what's being done to mitigate any extra traffic entering the area. Understand the roads can be busy already. So Phil, do you want to respond to that one?
Thanks very much, Tim. Yeah, look, I suppose some key points there is peak traffic occurs on the weekends for community sports. And the great thing about planned use of the facility is that it will spread across the entire weekend and importantly during the day. But as a safeguard, councils also be undertaking a local area traffic management plan, and that's about to commence, as I understand, which will look further into it just to see whether there's any gaps in our planning going forward, relating to car parking or other things like that that we need to consider. So hopefully the local area traffic plan will provide that important guidance, going forward.
Thank you, Phil. A few more questions have been coming through. A number of people certainly excited about what they've heard today, and another question about making sure that CALD and communities and Indigenous people can get involved in the proposal. So, Andrew, again, this might be one for you to start with. There may be other partners that would also like to share how they may have initiatives that are relevant as well. But Andrew, perhaps if you could respond to what sort of culturally appropriate activities there might be for CALD or Indigenous communities.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Much appreciated. Look, the range of activities that we've got at the site. Look, I'd certainly suggest that they're all, as a starting point, catering to all communities, and so look, there's going to be different programs that we develop over the next 12, 18 months that will be targeted at more specific audiences, such as certain CALD audiences, and I believe Belvedere already play a role in that, and perhaps Meredith can add some more words to that around the communities that they serve. Look, similar to other audience groups, this is something we'll be developing over the next sort of 12, 18 months. But I think you can imagine that there's a certainly the welcome opening environment for those communities within each of the different programs, and we'd certainly welcome everyone into the site.
Great.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew, because we currently run English as an additional language, which in this region covers a wide variety of different cohort. We also have been doing, well, until COVID was stopped us, we were doing a lot of work with the Sudanese, particularly with the Sudanese Homework Club. We were working with their parents. So I think St Kilda also had done some work with the Sudanese Homework Club through Brotherhood of St Lawrence as well. So we certainly, will, if there's an opportunity, we'll address it.
Great, thank you, Meredith. There's just some broader questions around just St Kilda's role, and obviously this has been it's a diverse offering here, and just how that relates to St Kilda as an organisation and what it does. So maybe Matt, I could throw to you on that one.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Tim, for that. Look, it's I think the nature of the activities here represent, I think, the what's become core to the business of a football club these days. And we're much more than just putting a team out on the oval every week, let alone a women's football, let alone just to the men's. But we're far broader involved in terms of working with our partners to have real impact in the community. And at the end of the day, this remains St Kilda heartland. A big number of our supporters and members reside in this area, and whilst our elite program is back at Moorabbin, we're absolutely committed to supporting the community which supports us, and so the ability to bring these partners to the table, I think, plays to the strength of St Kilda. We've got partnerships with Woollahra, which Lisa said run really deep. Our involvement with Monash is much broader than just here at Seaford as well, and we've really enjoyed getting to know Belvedere, and so for us it is actually part of our core business, and so our role is then to make sure that, as I said before, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So we play an active role, in actually having a hub manager who we employ, who's on site, and their job is to make sure that everyone is integrating so that we're getting the best value of that community of practice from the various partners who are involved. And so, as was mentioned earlier, for the moment, you walk through the door, it's a welcoming environment where people can come in and access, and you're not stopped at the door and only get in if you've got an appointment. It's one of those, the great thing about the revitalisation of this facility is that it'll be somewhere where people are welcome to come in and feel that sense of ownership, as the community should do for something of an asset of this type.
Great, thank you, Matt. Now, I understand some people may need to go as well. We are going just slightly over time. There's only a couple of questions left, so if you do need to go, that's fine, but we might just try and finish up a couple of those questions that we still have. I might put this one again to you, Andrew. There's a couple of questions that maybe you can answer two in one here. A couple of questions around how the logistics of the centre will be managed in terms of booking and common spaces and the lecture theatre and the like. And also there's a question around how stakeholders and partners have been selected or are to be selected and how that works.
Yeah, terrific. Thanks, Tim. Look, in terms of the specifics of the booking and management, look, I'll be honest, we're still working through the detail of it all in terms of exactly how that works. But our vision at the moment and our sort of business plan is that we would have 2 St Kilda staff member at the site, so someone on reception and a hub manager, and so effectively the hub manager would be responsible for managing the bookings of the common areas. In particular, the basketball court is the main asset that would be available to the public. Look, I think our initial view was